Newsfirst, Newsline with Shaukat Ali.
And a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsline Live on what will be the last but one program for this year, 2022. And thank you ever so much for all the greetings and the wishes. Very much appreciated your kind and gracious words indeed. Thank you. And our best wishes as always to everybody. Now then, this evening we thought we'd have a politician who's been a politician for a rather long time. Although the top two jobs has eluded him, he's always been mentioned for that. But he's also had a very important role, and there's a big shortage of that business now. Let's find out, shall we? Former Minister of Health and Cabinet Minister, now Member of Parliament with the SJB, Dr. Rajitha Senaratne. Very good evening.
Very good evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajitha, for agreeing to come on this program today. 2022 has been a horrible year, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely devastating. The people have had an awful time. And there have been shortages of almost everything, including, of course, medicines. We have limited fuel supplies. We have the dollar crisis is still there. There's now a tax crisis. The fertilizer is sky high, so it's a fertilizer crisis. And of course, we now also have the interest rate crisis. So, what will 2023 be? Will it be better?
All that depends on the about the IMF actually deliberations. So if the IMF agreeable to grant to give us the certification, then it would be a better story. Because what I heard, actually already the Paris Club has agreed to postpone our paying the loans for another 10 years. So that's a very good, it's a great time, and because when the revenue comes, if we had to pay our loans, then the crisis would have continued. But still, the government has to settle with two other giants, that is the India and China.
Yes.
So India and China, I think they have started talks, and there was a delay with China, because the China's elections to the Central Committee was held a few weeks back. So there was a new team appointed this time with the ministers and everything. With that, there was a limited, there was a delay, but the IMF visited China to discuss the situation about China, about Sri Lanka. So the negotiations are going on. So all that depends. And I hope some economists, the central bank and the treasury people hope actually by mid-January, either way it would be settled.
But you know, Dr. Rajitha, I hear what you say, but it's the people who are suffering. It's not particularly the politicians or the president or the prime minister, but it's the people. People are suffering because the economy has contracted from 80 to around 70 billion US dollars. There's limited fuel supply, so you know, people who depend on that, like the drivers and the driving side and transport and so on, all those people are sort of challenged, and the people are the ones who are suffering. So why is it that the international community seems so heartless? Don't they have any feelings, the people of Sri Lanka, the people? Because you know, when you consider sanctions, the usual thing the UN will say is, well, we don't want to hit the common man. You know, we'll take sanctions against certain people, we'll freeze their accounts, we won't allow them to travel, so on and so forth. That doesn't really hurt the people. But in this case, the people are the ones who are suffering. We have no medicines. And as the Minister of Health, you will understand that better than most people.
Yeah. Now the main problem is, it is not the international community. It is our own people who created this situation. The former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and his advisors, people like P.B. Jayasundara, Niwad Cabral, Atula Atigala, that team who actually handled the economy. They who did it. Actually, even our party, our economists, Harsha and Iran, all those people, all advocated from the very beginning to go to the IMF. They never, and they were talking very high statements, and they never did it. But finally, the government had to go. So these are the people actually who are who killed the economy. The economy came to a standstill finally. You know, we didn't have rupees, we didn't have dollars. So the central bank had to announce that we are bankrupt because we can't pay our loans, we can't pay our whatever the dues. So therefore, it came to that point. Then only the former president had to leave, the prime minister had to leave, the finance minister had to leave. All they have to leave because of the Aragalaya. After that only the present president took over as the prime minister and then became the president. After he took over, there was a little better than earlier because there were those days miles and miles, there were long queues for fuel.
Granted.
Right. So now there is no queue, but anyway it is rationed with the QR code. At least for ration, for the ration even, at least you can get that now, and there is no suffering at the police at these petrol stations. And the gas is also, that problem was settled. Then the electricity also, there were long power cuts. Now it has come to about 2.5 hours. Still, but they are not settled. They say the coal ships will come. Some say no.
There's some controversy about that.
Then fuel chips are coming, but they don't have money to pay. All that problems are there. So and also the prices came down a little. So there were a lot of praise to the president. But later, when he introduced the tax and also the increase the income, the interest rates, then again another sector was blaming, because especially when you increase the interest rates, right, and also the electricity prices to increase, these things will definitely hit our industries very badly.
Absolutely.
Because we have to compete with the internationally with the other countries' products. So, but if our country's products, the expenditure is high, then it is very difficult for our exporters to fight to to compete with the other people. So that problem that affects the economy.
Yes, so the exporters have gone up to 30%, paying 30% of tax.
Yes, correct.
So that's another
of
cost
tax.
to them.
Now at the moment, actually the export is improving, tourism is improving, and our foreign remittance is improving. Those are the three actually revenues that we get our dollars. So the other thing is we are to earn rupees. That is the only way is to earn from taxes. Even this taxing is very high. But you know the problem is now it affects the middle class, right? Because there is a relief for up to 100,000 rupees earning. So beyond 100,000 only you have to pay taxes. So earlier it was 300,000, now it had come down to 100,000. So the problem is actually it is not those people. The poor people are suffering more because they are in hunger, right? The people who had 3 meals, now they are having 2. And some people are having
only one, yes.
Right? And there is a nutrition problem for the children. The malnutrition is increasing, right? It was controlled up to 2021. After 2021, now it is increasing. About 42% are undernourishment in this country. So this is very bad. So undernourishment that means there is that affects the growth. So that affects the brain. Right, so everything. So there will be a generation malnourished generation in the future.
But you know, Dr. Rajitha, I hear you say all this. But to be fair, 6.9 million people voted for Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Perhaps 300,000 or 500,000 shouted so hard and loud and peacefully that Gotabaya Rajapaksa decided that on his own that he wasn't wanted, and so he went away. And therefore, there is, constitutionally we have this process in which a president can be appointed when the other one has left before time. But in a way, it's really, if you look at it morally, you and your colleagues in Parliament have been appointed by the people. The people voted for you. But nobody voted for the president, not for this president. Therefore, it's like a temporary position. He came in on the back of a crisis, and he said so. He said, I'm here because of the crisis. But quite frankly, we still have the dollar crisis, we still have the tax crisis, we still have a fertilizer crisis, and we have the interest rate crisis. And we have limited supplies of fuel. So what is this big change? I mean, the people are still suffering. The people, 62% of our workforce are daily waged.
Now there are two things. One thing is about how he was elected. Now when there was a complete crisis in the country, so this is the constitution states how to overcome the crisis. This is the way, right? You elect. This is how after President Premadasa was killed by the LTT bombs, the next day the country elected he was nominated first, the then president acted, and the parliament elected D.B. Vijaytunga. Now here also, otherwise you can't. Now this is a time.
That.
No, this is a time where you can't go for elections.
Why?
How? Where is money?
But they print money to pay the salaries.
No, so that means you are adding to the crisis, no?
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
But the people will find it more. Don't you think?
Pardon?
Don't you think that your constituents, your electorate, those people will be much happier, even though they have the trouble, that okay, we the people elected a new parliament, and now the parliament is even morally right.
For us, even today you hold elections, even there won't be 50% people who will come to vote.
Why?
Less than. No, why? People have more than the election. There are a lot of problems.
Survival. Right.
So they are starving. They don't have
so, but the
daily earners.
The president said the other day, he said, frankly, I have no forward plan. But what he did say is we need to do this, that and the other before we can do that. But the IMF wants a forward plan. They want to know how we are going to pay our debts.
Yeah.
Even now, we are not repaying our debts. We are not servicing even the loan component or any component. And with all that, we are still struggling.
Yeah, but anyway, that it takes time because the way this man handled the economy, right? Now, earlier we and the country blamed for giving relief to the people with the removing of the VAT, right? So we lost about 700 to 800 billion, right? So now we are actually taking the VAT, right? We are taxing the people. So then there is another criticism for taxing. But we also that time blamed the government for giving that tax relief to the people. So we said to actually we also advocated the direct tax, not the indirect tax. So tax the individuals or the organization, but not indirectly to your consumer items, right? So now the problem is, now you cannot, when you are in such a crisis, I think nobody can overcome the crisis in 5 or 6 months. Now just say in Greece, how many governments were formed? 4 governments were formed in 2 years, because the government was toppled. The opposition said, we will settle the matter. Then they form 3-4 months all the people on streets because you can't deliver.
We've got several messages coming here. I'm going to have to ask you this. And that is, when are you joining the government? When are you joining President Wickremesinghe?
There is no individual joining the government or anything.
So you won't be joining individually?
No. There is, always I have advocated that nobody can actually take the country out of this crisis. No party, no leader.
No one party or
no one party
leader
can take over.
Okay.
Even we come into power, I don't think we can. So if we come into power, in 4-5 months the people will be on street against us. So I said, in that case, better to be in the opposition.
You talk about the SJB now?
Yeah, SJB. Okay. Better to be in the opposition.
Right.
Because otherwise getting blame from the people. Right? If we cannot deliver the goods, there is no reason why we should form a government. Right? Every time we form a government, we had a plan. We said we will deliver something. But this time, we can't just give that promise. Actually, honestly.
Is that why the SJB
you can just say
have a plan?
as a political ploy, you can do that, but that is not correct because the people are so much suffering. So to give bogus ideas to the people who are suffering.
Is that why the SJB is not making these undertakings?
Yeah.
So you have a good leader then?
Yeah, correct. That's right. So even that is why even when I say these things, he takes it into mind, he listens to it very carefully, because this is we have never had experience about such a crisis. This country had never faced a crisis like this. This is the worst crisis in our independent Sri Lanka. Right? The economy was good when we handed over. Even in the social media, the people were writing, saying, we don't want much. Please bring us to the level in 2019, the economic level to the 2019. So that means they appreciate. So we had about over 7.8 billion foreign reserves, over 1.5 billion gold. All that is been ruined by this this Gotabe and the crowd. And the other thing
should they be held responsible?
Definitely.
When the SJB comes into power, will you all be looking at?
No, even the president has now promised that he will appoint a select committee in parliament for the economic crisis.
But you believe him? He's elected by 1/3/4 by the
select committee means we all be there.
Yeah.
All the parties will be there in the select committee.
Okay.
So that's a parliamentary committee, not the government committee.
Who's the majority? Which party is the majority in that select committee?
No, the government can appoint more people, but when it comes to the overall, even sometimes the opposition can be. Because when we appointed the select committee during the 2002 government, a select committee to change the electoral systems, we appointed the opposition member, Dinesh Gunawardena, to that. That was the policy of Ranil Wickremesinghe at that time. So I hope that he will follow the same method.
Well, he said things like the Aragalaya can continue.
Yeah.
And no sooner he became the president, he became all very hot-headed.
Yes.
And started arresting these innocent young protesters.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to all of that after a short break in which we look at the evening's headlines. We'll see you on the other side.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
Passenger aircraft lands at Mattala after almost 10 months. Minister among those present to welcome the travellers. Bangladesh opens first metro rail service with Japanese aid, a project scrapped by Sri Lanka. Appointments to Constitutional Council further delayed as discussions end with no decision. Election Commission ready for local government poll. Parliament to be summoned on the 5th. Anura questions the urgency to do so and hints at attempt to delay elections. IS member who had links with Zaharan Hashim arrested. 3 men arrested for torching Akkarepattu court archives. Peliyatta Pradeshiya Sabha chairman remanded for stealing water pipes.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
Welcome back. I'm in conversation with Dr. Rajitha Senaratne from the SJB. And Dr. Rajitha, this time in this season, our group decided that instead of having all these festivities and so on, that we would give books out. Because this is, and also the Archbishop of Colombo said that we need to have a sober Christmas, very down, helping each other. And so we're giving out books. Why do you think this is?
This is very good. It's a great idea by Sirasa. Rather than spending that money for just unnecessary celebration, this is not a time to celebrate. What the Cardinal professed was very correct. Now even I was invited this time for the Christmas parties, I didn't attend. Because it's not correct, to attend when, how can we have parties and other things when the people are suffering, our own people, we know. And the other thing is, if you can give the books, that is the greatest thing. Now today, one of my supporters came home, a businessman from Panadura. He is our party man who wants to contest the next elections also. One series, Mr. Sirisena. He said last year, I went for that book distribution for the people I who gave the books. So he said he spent 6 lakhs that he can afford.
Right.
But he tried to do the same thing this year, right? Then it came to 21 lakhs that he has to spend, but that he can't afford, right, with the businesses today. So it's like that. So we also can't help the people. Those days we also help the people, and the children, so many people are helping. But here the helpers also now in difficulty. So in that case, if the Sirasa and the MTV can distribute books, that is the greatest thing that you can do to our poor school children.
Apart from being the people's voice.
Yes.
Because
Correct.
that's what we are.
Yeah.
We are the people's voice.
Yeah.
Mahatma Gandhi, civil disobedience becomes a sacred duty when the state has become lawless or corrupt.
Yeah.
And we know that the state has become corrupt.
So it was corrupt. It was corrupt only because of corruption only that all that had happened. Actually now the entire country, entire world knows how corrupt the family was.
Will Sajid Premadas, as the leader of the SJB, and will people like Dr. Rajitha Senaratne, senior member of the SJB and senior politician, will you all tell us, for the record, when you win the next election and when you form the government, will you be actively seeking to prosecute all those who have been found to be corrupt?
So for us, the same promise was given in 2015. No?
Yes, that was going to be my next question.
What happened?
Yeah.
Finally, I and Champika had to go to prison.
Yes.
Right, I stayed one month in prison.
Yeah.
I had to eat the prison food.
Yeah.
Even I was
not very good.
Not bad.
Not bad. Okay, go on.
If the poor people can eat,
yes, why can't you?
People, those are the people who had brought us to these positions, no?
Yeah.
So why not we? So I was the real prisoner because I had meals in the prison, right? There were no visitors allowed to see me, right? All banned. So 1 month isolation. That is what happened after trying to
So what are you saying?
So the same thing happened to Champika. Right?
But
we
what are
are
you
the
saying?
two people who were spearheading. Why?
Correct. But
our people, we were doing that. Some other people were having deals. Right? So this is how now the Marcos corruption.
yeah, but Mr. Premadas is not known for doing deals.
No, it is not the deal. You don't need for Sajid to have deals. But there will be other people, who don't understand this the gravity of it.
So what are you saying? Are you saying that these people will
No,
never
you
be
have to
prosecuted?
do it. But this is what had happened. Even Marcos' corruption, still they are investigating, no?
Yes,
so
but they found $1 billion.
Marcos' son has been elected as the president again.
So what do you
now
say?
Suharto's dealings, again, still they are investigating. So it's not an easy thing. We can just say we also tried our best.
But
finally,
South Korea, 4 presidents.
we were imprisoned.
Yes, but South Korea, 4 people were in, 4 elected presidents went to prison. One has just been released because of old age. And he's been forgiven.
Yeah. Even in Malaysia, that is what Mahathir did. When he came, the next day he arrested the former president.
Yeah.
So if he can do that way, that is the only way. Then there will be FR, they will go to the Supreme Court. You saw how Gotabaya was running from court to court. Yeah. He was never, none of his cases were heard up to 5 years, no, in the judiciary. So
what are you really saying, Dr. Rajitha? Shall we
will have to do that, but I don't think that we can complete in 5 years. In that case, we have to have a government for at least 10 years.
But if you start it, then I'm sure the people vote you back in.
So did they vote back us? They didn't vote back us. So we have filed cases against the entire, except Mahinda Rajapaksa, all other members of the family, no, they were in prison also. They were remanded.
But come March,
everybody.
But come March or April this, sorry, beg your pardon. Come March or April the coming year, we may find an answer as to why and how you didn't get re-elected and the other people got elected.
Re-elected means?
You know, you just said your parliament didn't get elected again. The parliament didn't get elected again.
Yeah, correct.
Right? But the other side, who were being prosecuted in the
not only that, now
and the Easter bombings.
Overthrowing the Yahaparane, now the people are suffering, no? Now this is for what that they have voted, no? Yeah. They are the people now shouting very high.
Dr. Rajitha,
the people who have voted.
Do you think that the Easter bombings, you know, the security lapse, do you think that had a part to play in the election of these people?
No, for us every time it's like that, no. The UNP government always had the program for development and economy. The UNP has always, even when I was in the other camp, no, in the left movement, but I have to now tell, 1956, how Bandaranaike came to power? Only one slogan, no? Single only, right? In 24 hours. So, did that happen? So it's like that. One slogan, no? The Mathini came into power saying, I will give two rations, right? Rice rations. Those days, when Dandi gave one, right? It's like that. So, she was elected. Then again, Chandrika came, the human face for the open economy, right? Like that. Every time they came, the economy came down, no? Chandrika's time it was minus 1.3 when handed over to us in 2002. But our government, we brought it to up to 5%. So then they toppled the government, no? You cannot continue in this country. They never allowed a good government to continue. They brought slogans. Slogans means the nationality, religion, they are the things. So they are very easy, no? And you don't need to do anything, no, to win an election with those slogans. So you don't need to have money. You don't need development, nothing. Now actually, I think after the Aragalaya, after all this happened, our people have realized at least, right? About communalism, about religious disharmony, all those things. Now they have learnt a good lesson. This is what we professed from early days, right? Against communalism, against religious disharmony, right? Against caste system. We professed. Because the country must be united, no? Even family to develop, the family must be united. Here they came and they always, what they did, they separated everybody.
The Rajapaksas are very united.
Yeah. Their main slogan was that, no? So that is why 6.9 people voted. Now they talk very big, the people who have ruined the country. Not only Rajapaksas, the media. You saw the other media, how they behaved, no, in this country. So then they showed even the night show and everything. For that also people voted, no. And the people, how they came from all the Middle East countries and other countries to vote for Gotabaya Rajapaksa to ruin the country. No, in 2 years he ruined the entire thing. So they were just going.
I'm going to ask you this question. Please answer it. Are you confident that you will remain with the SJB with Mr. Premadasa at the helm and not leave them individually?
No, not individually, we don't leave. Actually,
what about you won't
but
leave.
Always I have said that no, that there must be a all-party government to overcome this problem, especially the economy and the development. Otherwise, the country has no future.
Dr. Rajitha Senaratne, thank you very much for being on Newsline Live. Thank you.
Thank you very
And
much,
that's the way it was with Dr. Rajitha Senaratne, member of the SJB, and he's not going anywhere, he tells you. You heard it again on Newsline. Take care. It's now time for the primetime news. God bless you all.